Hello, I'm Susan Woods of Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions. Thank you for your time. Did the IRS revoke the 501c3 status for your nonprofit organization? That's the focus of this video message. We're going to talk about revocation and how to reinstate. What does revoke mean? Revoke is a verb that means to take back or withdraw, annul, cancel or reverse, rescind or repeal. Automatic revocation. The IRS automatically revokes the 501c3 status of nonprofits that fail to file the appropriate Form 990 information return for 3 consecutive years. So that means if your 501c3 nonprofit organization does not file the appropriate Form 990 information return for 3 consecutive years, then the IRS will automatically revoke the 501c3 status. And we already learned revoke means to annul, to repeal, to rescind, to take away, which means you no longer have it. Your nonprofit no longer has 501c3 status and therefore cannot operate as a 501c3 nonprofit organization, meaning it can no longer accept donations as tax deductible. That's very, very important. I receive calls frequently from people who receive letters from the IRS stating that their 501c3 status has been revoked. That's what the letter says, has been revoked in the past tense. And they wonder, what does that mean? Well, it means your nonprofit organization can no longer operate as a 501c3 nonprofit. It doesn't exist in the eyes of the IRS. Let's talk about how this all came about from a historical perspective. How did the idea of revocation come about? A historical perspective. The Pension Protection Act of 2006 changed the reporting requirements for 501c3 nonprofits by including a provision that requires the IRS to revoke the tax exemption of any nonprofit that fails to file an annual Form 990 return with the IRS for 3 consecutive years. So this goes all the way back to 2006 when this notion of revocation came about. The IRS then was charged with organizing itself to send a written notice of revocation to the last known address for each non-reporting nonprofit, with revocation happening after the 990 filing deadline passes for the 3rd consecutive year of non-compliance. So if you're not filing a Form 990 information return every year, you are not in compliance with the rules of the IRS. The timeline set in place by the 2006 law provided that automatic revocations would begin on May 15, 2010. Using that timeline, almost 400,000 nonprofits, that's more than 60% of them 501c3 charities, were slated to have their exemptions revoked. And the date of May 15th is no coincidence, because if a nonprofit organization operates on a calendar year, meaning from January to December as their fiscal year, that means their appropriate Form 990 information return is due to the IRS by May 15th of the following year, because your Form 990 information returns are always due 5 months and 15 days after your fiscal year ends. So if your fiscal year ends December the 31st, then May 15th is the deadline to file your Form 990 information return. And I have a video that explains this whole process. You don't have to use a calendar year as your fiscal year. If you use another type of fiscal year, that's fine. But just always remember that you must file your appropriate Form 990 information return 5 months and 15 days after your fiscal year ends. Now, however, the IRS delayed implementation of the revocations until the summer of 2011 to make sure that more nonprofits were aware of the law, and of their requirements to file. Unfortunately, many administrators of the small grassroots 501c3 nonprofit organizations still did not learn about the new reporting rules until it was too late. Current IRS revocation data. What's going on now? Nonprofits lose tax exempt status automatically, as I said before, if they do not file the appropriate Form 990 information return for 3 consecutive years. What does the word appropriate mean in this case? Appropriate means this. There are 4 types of Form 990 information returns. You have the Form 990E, the Form 990N e-postcard. Again, that's the Form 990N, as in Nancy, e-postcard. That's the first type. The second type is the Form 990EZ. The third type is the Form 990. And the fourth type is the Form 990T for the trust, if you have a trust organization. How do you know which one is appropriate for your nonprofit? You determine that based on the amount of revenues and assets your nonprofit organization has. For example, if your 501c3 nonprofit organization generated $50,000 or less in a fiscal year, that means you qualify to file the Form 990N, as in Nancy, e-postcard. So the appropriateness is based on the amount of revenues you generate, your nonprofit generates, and the amount of assets your nonprofit has. That's what determines which type of Form 990 you should use. From the middle of 2010 to October the 11th, 2021, the IRS revoked the tax exemption status, or the tax exempt recognition rather, of 953,128 nonprofit organizations for that very reason. They did not file the appropriate Form 990 for 3 consecutive years, 3 years in a row. They did not file any Form 990 information return. So in that span of time, from the middle of 2010 to October the 11th, 2021, the IRS revoked the tax exemption recognition of 953,128 nonprofit organizations for failure to file. Now, a lot of people still don't file. A lot of nonprofit administrators still don't file for this reason. Listen to me good. They don't file because they feel like we don't have to. We didn't generate that much money. We didn't hardly make any money. So why would we file? You must file if you generated $0. You must file if you don't have any assets. If you have a 501c3 status, you must file regardless. You have to let the IRS know that you don't have any money, you don't have any assets, but you still want to retain your 501c3 status so that you can in the future, generate revenues, and acquire assets. If you don't file, then you are going to be revoked if you don't file for 3 consecutive years. That's very important. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't have any revenues. It doesn't matter if you don't have any assets. If you don't have any revenues or you don't have any assets, just file the Form 990N, as in Nancy, e-postcard stating those facts. I do that myself. I have a 501c3 nonprofit organization that I started in 2006, officially started in 2006. I don't operate any services under my nonprofit right now. I don't operate any programs right now. Nevertheless, every single year, I file a Form 990N e-postcard to let the IRS know that I don't have any revenues, I don't have any assets. However, I want to retain my 501c3 status just in case I decide to start offering programs in the future. One final thought before I move forward. If your status is revoked, if the IRS revokes your status, you can reinstate it, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. You can reinstate it, but always remember, if you reinstate your status, the revocation date and reinstatement date will always be a part of your official record. In other words, people can still see that your status was revoked in the past, and that may raise suspicion as to why it was revoked. So let's talk about something brighter. How to reinstate the 501c3 status. Like I said, you can reinstate it. You can get your 501c3 status back. It will always, your record will always show that you had a revocation on file, but you can get it back. Let's talk about how. Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions, which is my company, helps nonprofit leaders reinstate the 501c3 status of their nonprofit organizations using these steps. This is what I do. First, I meet with clients or potential clients using a phone consultation or via a phone consultation to discuss the circumstances that caused the revocation. I need to know what happened, what caused your status, what caused the IRS to revoke your status. So we talk about that. Then we discuss the steps to reinstate your 501c3 status. What do we need to do to move forward and get your status reinstated? If you agree to what I discuss with you and you feel comfortable with my services, I will send you a contractual agreement for review, and it will outline everything that we discussed in our phone consultation pertaining to how I will help you get your status reinstated. Then, if you agree to the contractual agreement, then you will process the reinstatement application completion fee, because I'm going to complete the application process for you to reinstate your status. And my fee is $1,500 to provide that service. After you've processed the $1,500 fee, then I will complete the reinstatement application process for you. We will collaborate and we will work together to get the application completed. So these are the steps that I will use to help you reinstate your 501c3 status. And again, you will have a contractual agreement that will put everything in writing that I explained when I explained my process to helping you reinstate your status. These are the steps that I use. So how to get started? How would you get started working with me? Go to trustsusanwoods.com. Click on the Reserve Consultation tab, and then complete the steps to reserve a 1-hour private phone consultation that will allow you to share with me, again, the circumstances that caused you to lose your 501c3 status. And that way we can get started working together to get your status reinstated so that you can then resume offering the valuable community services that you want to offer in your community. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Susan Woods of Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions, and I hope to hear from you soon to help you reinstate your 501c3 nonprofit status because we need the services that you offer in the community. Thank you and have a great day.